Hi folks, I wanted to share this quick discussion with you over this piece in your textbook on page 106. It's called Triadique. And if you remember from class the other day, we had spent a little bit of time looking at 107, and we talked about it in quite a lot of detail. And what I want to do for 106 is to give you just a little bit of an overview, but to leave some of the work putting the piece together to all of you. So what I'd like to discuss here is just a little bit about what both hands are doing separately, and then I'll play the piece for you so you can hear it and have just a basis to know kind of what you're wanting as an end result, what you're practicing towards. But when you look at both hands separately, you see that the left hand, to start with, is really doing the lightweight lifting on this piece. Your left hand really just starts out in a C position, an octave below middle C, and it's just hopping back and forth between the pinky and thumb, root and fifth of the chord, if you want to think of it that way. And then when you get up to measure 5, notice that the notes change in your left hand. You're still hopping back and forth a fifth, but the notes have moved up to D and to A. And when we put the left hand together with the right, you'll see why that makes a little bit of sense. And then take a look at measure 9. This is when you get to just one note for several measures. You're just pecking on that G over and over and over. Not much going on until you get back to measure 17, and then the patterns from the beginning repeat. So to be honest, your left hand doesn't have a lot of difficult work to do. Your left hand should be fairly straightforward. And most of you should probably be able to play through the left hand part by itself with really no trouble at all. Now, it's the right hand that's going to present a little bit more difficulty with note reading because, as the title of this piece suggests, you're basically hopping around all over the place with your right hand playing different triads, some of them major, some of them minor. But if you look at the beginning, you're playing a C major chord with your right hand, and all of these chords look like they're offbeats, right? And as you plane up and down the chord, you notice that your right hand is really just moving up and down along white key chord shapes. This is C major, so you don't see any sharps or flats up through those first 3 or 4 bars. And so what your right hand is doing is just starting with C major, jumping up one position to D minor, jumping up again to E minor, back down, and so on. You're going to do something similar when you get to measure 5, but since we've moved up into a kind of a D position, or a key change to the key of D, even though there's not a notated key change, you see a lot of accidentals that suggest D major. And what's going to happen in measure 5 is similar. D major, shift up, E minor, shift up again, F sharp minor, back down to E minor, and so on. And you might ask yourself, well, in measure 5 and 6 and 7, why do I see all those sharps? Why do I see something as strange and remote as F sharp minor? It's because if we were in the key of D, and you were taking all of those chords up the scale in the key of D major, you would have F sharps, you would have C sharps, and that generates the chords that we see, like D major, E minor, F sharp minor, and so on. When you get to measure 9, the pattern changes a little bit. You hop way up to a G major chord up high, and the chords hop down in such a way that you have some common notes. G major, scoot down 2 positions to E minor, and you see where those common notes are. Scoot down again to C major in measure 10, and you see where those common notes are, and so on. One other thing that I will mention is if you look at measure 13, take a look really carefully at the way the chord motion works here, where you have F major, F minor following that, measure 14, G major, G minor follows that, measure 15, A major, A minor follows that. So I realize you may be watching this and you're thinking, man, he's rattling off those chords super quickly. Well, that's why this is on YouTube. So you can slow it down, you can watch it over and over, you can listen, and hopefully, if you use your theory brain, and you want to write in some of the chord symbols, you've got the capacity to look this over, decide what chord is this, what is its root, what is its quality, and if it helps you to write those things in the part to say, okay, this is F minor here, or this is A major here, or whatever is the case, I would certainly encourage you to do that. So at this point, let me just play it for you. It says at the beginning 2 things that are worth noting here. First of all, detached in italics. So what that means is even though you don't see a lot of staccato dots on the notes or on the chords, I would play this whole thing with a really detached touch. So no legatos here. Everything is going to be pretty jumpy and staccato. And then it also says at the beginning prestissimo, which we will take with a grain of salt. Now that means it would be really, really fast if you were going to play this as the composer intended. But as with most things in functional piano classes, I value tempo much less than I value accuracy. So you can take it slower if it'll help you to get all the notes and rhythms correct. So I'll take it at a kind of moderate tempo and give you an idea for what this piece sounds like from the beginning. Here we go. And that's it. So it can go faster than that. You can certainly go slower than that if you need to, just for the sake of notes, rhythms, and accuracy. But that's what we'll have for our next playing exam, along with page 107. So you have 106 and 107 together. And as we've talked about in class, also your B major and F sharp major scales and cadence chords. So good luck with this. Look me up if you have any questions or if I can give you any practice tips. And we'll spend some time dealing with this in class next week. Thanks a lot.